1965. India's borders were attacked by its neighbor Pakistan. After the 17-day war, a ceasefire was declared, and a decision was taken to form a specialized border guarding force. The BSF guards over 6,500 kilometers of India's borders. That's nearly as long as the Nile, the longest river in the world. While the Eastern Command of the BSF is responsible for monitoring India's borders with Bangladesh, the Western Command mans India's borders with Pakistan. BSF assists the Army in operating at the LOC in Kashmir. BSF works in conditions from extreme snow to sweltering deserts. They are out there 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, manning sweltering deserts and watching over snow-clad peaks, wading through menacing swamps and sweeping through dense forests. The people who are India's first line of defense.
मुझे यह कहते हुए अपार हर्ष हो रहा है कि सीमा सुरक्षा बल का एयर विंग अपनी 50वीं वर्षगांठ मना रहा है। मैं इस शुभ अवसर पर आप सबको हार्दिक बधाई देते हुए उज्जवल भविष्य की कामना करता हूं। सीमा सुरक्षा बल एयर विंग की स्थापना श्री के रुस्तम जी द्वारा 1 मई 1969 को नेपाल नरेश से खरीदे गए क्वीन एयर C-80 जहाज़ से हुई थी। समय समय पर विभिन्न प्रकार के जहाज़ शामिल किए गए जिसका राष्ट्रहित में उपयोग हो रहा है। मैं कामना करता हूं कि सीमा सुरक्षा बल एयर विंग इसी तरह हमेशा आगे बढ़ता रहे और नई ऊंचाइयों को प्राप्त करे। जय हिंद।
On 1st February 1969, government approved purchase of one Queen Air C-80 aircraft from His Majesty King of Nepal for transportation of DGBSF and field commanders to border areas and for use by VIPs. On 1st May 1969, BSF Air Wing became operational from BSF hangar Safdarjung Airport. Queen Air was flown by BSF pilots. Initially, maintenance of the Queen aircraft was outsourced to Endemar and later on taken over by engineers and technicians of BSF. After Queen Air, in the year 1969, 4 Mi-4 helicopters were purchased and handed over to IAF for its operations and maintenance. These helicopters were used for aerial survey and for movement in border areas by DGBSF, field commanders and senior officials of MHA or BSF and for other BSF commitments, and they proved to be very useful. In the year 1971 to 1975, 5 Dakota DC-3 aircraft were inducted in BSF Air Wing. Operations were carried out from Safdarjung Airport by BSF pilots. Initially, maintenance was outsourced to Airworks, followed by HAL Barrackpur. Dakota aircraft were used for regular courier service to J&K and Northeast and for shifting stores of CAPFs. Dakota aircraft were used for aerial survey and for movement in border areas by DGBSF, field commanders and senior officials of MHA or BSF, and they proved to be very useful and effective for BSF commitments. Dakota aircraft was used by Honorable Home Minister and senior MHA officials for their official visits. One Dakota aircraft has been retained for training purposes and kept at BSF Academy Tekanpur Museum. In the year 1982, Super King Air B200 replaced Queen Air C-80 aircraft. BSF team taking delivery of Super King Air in Wichita, Kansas, USA. Initially, operations were carried out from BSF hangar Safdarjung Airport by experienced pilots, engineers and technicians of BSF Air Wing. In the year 1989, operations and maintenance were shifted to BSF hangar Palam. Up to 800 hours, 24 months major inspection, including engine change, were carried out at BSF hangar Palam. Super King aircraft was used by the Honorable Home Minister, DGs of CAPFs and senior MHA officials for their official visits. In the year 1982 and 1984, one HS-748 aircraft and 3 Avro aircrafts in 1991, that is a total of 5 Avro aircrafts, were inducted in BSF Air Wing as replacement of Dakota DC-3 aircrafts. Operations were carried out by BSF pilots and maintenance was initially outsourced to DGCA approved agencies. 7 CAPF's GD officers were trained as pilots at Igrua and obtained their CPL license from DGCA. 11 GD constables were trained as cabin crew from Indian Airlines Hyderabad and obtained their license. In the year 1991, line maintenance of Avro aircraft was started at BSF hangar Palam by engineers and technicians of BSF Air Wing. Avro aircraft is used for regular courier services to J&K and Northeast for CAPF's personnel, where there are limited resources for transportation. These courier flights proved to be beneficial and provided relief to CAPF personnel. In Srinagar Airport at sub-zero temperatures, BSF engineers and technicians successfully carried out engine replacement. Major maintenance of Avro aircraft is carried out at HAL Kanpur. Avro aircraft is used for casualty evacuation, transportation of mortal remains of martyrs, used for weekly J&K and ANO courier services for CAPF personnel. Avro aircraft is used by Honorable Home Minister, Minister of State, DG BSF and senior officials of MHA CAPFs for their official visits. It is also used for Pakistan and Bangladesh delegations. In the year 1990, Chetak helicopter was inducted in BSF Air Wing and was based at Jodhpur. Operations and maintenance were outsourced to DGCA approved agencies. Chetak helicopter was used for visits by DG BSF, senior officials of MHA BSF and used by Rajasthan and Gujarat frontiers. In the year 1997, Cheetah helicopter was inducted in BSF Air Wing and is based at Srinagar. The operation and maintenance are carried out by pilots, engineers, and technicians of BSF Air Wing. Apart from line maintenance, engine replacement work is also carried out by engineers and technicians of BSF Air Wing. This helicopter is used for visits by DGBSF, senior officials of MHA BSF, and also by Jammu and Kashmir frontiers. In the year 2003, 6 Mi-17 1V helicopters were inducted in BSF Air Wing for movement of troops, field commanders, and other MHA commitments. Operations and maintenance are carried out from Safdarjung Airport by pilots, engineers, and technicians of BSF Air Wing. Mi-17 1V helicopters were recently overhauled at NARP, Novosibirsk, Russia. At present, BSF team is taking delivery of these helicopters at Air Force Station, Chandigarh. Commandos being trained in slithering operations in Mi-17 1V helicopters. Major maintenance is carried out at BSF hangar, Safdarjung Airport, by engineers and technicians of BSF Air Wing. Mi-17 1V helicopters are used for paradropping of material in BOPs, shifting of troops, etc. Mi-17 1V helicopters are used by Honorable Home Minister and senior MHA CAPF's officials for their official visits. In the year 2005, Embraer 135BJ aircraft replaced Super King Air VT-EHK. BSF team inspecting Embraer aircraft at Brazil. Training of BSF engineers, technicians, and cabin crews were conducted at Brazil and Paris. BSF team took over Embraer aircraft in delivery ceremony at Brazil and ferried the aircraft to India. Puja ceremony at BSF hangar, Palam. Operations and maintenance were carried out by pilots, engineers, and technicians of BSF Air Wing. Up to 24 months inspection is carried out at BSF hangar, Palam. Induction ceremony at Air Force Station Palam in the presence of Shri Shivraj Patil, Honorable Home Minister. In the first flight, Honorable Home Minister was accompanied by DG BSF. Embraer aircraft is used by Honorable Home Minister, Ministers of State, DG BSF, and senior officials of MHA for their official visits. From the year 2005 to 2017, Embraer was operated and maintained as per civil norms with DGCA registration VT-BSF. From 23rd August 2017, it is operated and maintained as per military norms with tail number KE 3605. Engineering section has successfully maintained the aircraft in civil and military norms with more than 95% serviceability status. Aircraft is being successfully maintained as per IAF norms currently. Major maintenance is carried out at Ogma, Portugal. In the year 2009, 8 LH Through helicopters were inducted in the fleet of BSF Air Wing. Operations were started initially from Ranchi base. At present, 2 helicopters are based at Ranchi, 3 at Raipur and 1 at Agartala. Operations are conducted to various places from these bases. Operations are carried out by CAPF pilots and the maintenance is carried out by engineers and technicians of BSF Air Wing. Major maintenance is carried out by HAL Bangalore. ALH Through experienced team is always ready to meet any kind of emergency requirements. These helicopters are used for various operations such as troops movements, casualty evacuation, transportation of mortal remains of martyrs, etc. ALH Through helicopters are used by DGBSF, senior officials of MHA CAPFs for their official visits. In the year 2015, 8 Mi-17 V5 helicopters were inducted in BSF Air Wing. After puja ceremony, these helicopters were handed over to DGBSF Shri D.K. Pathak by Honorable Minister of State Shri Kiran Rijiju. Operations and maintenance of Mi-17 V5 helicopters are carried out from New Delhi, Ranchi and Guwahati by pilots, engineers and technicians of BSF Air Wing. Major maintenance is carried out at BSF Hangar, Safdarjung Airport by engineers and technicians of BSF Air Wing. Mi-17 V5 helicopters are used for movement of troops, casualty evacuation and transportation of mortal remains of martyrs, etc. Mi-17 V5 helicopters are used by Honorable Home Minister, Minister of State and senior officials of MHA CAPFs for their official visits. Our valiant soldiers who laid down their lives